Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Macy. If you're new here, I just finished up my first year of law school at Northwestern California University School of Law. It's a completely online law school program that is California Bar accredited, and I am getting ready to start my 2L year. But before I get started, I thought I would do a 1L wrap up and just answer all of your guys' most asked questions, share my tips and tricks and things that I would or wouldn't do differently in my next year of law school now that I've already experienced my first one. Also, ignore the whole unaesthetic background. We're still working on getting settled into our house. We finally just yesterday emptied out our entire living room because when we moved in, we were just focused on getting everything in the house. Then we got sick, so everything's just been piled up in the living room. We still haven't even unpacked most of it. We just at least put things in the rooms that they live in. Anyways, not relevant. I'm just gonna go ahead and get the number one thing out of the way because everyone's been asking me, and that is grades. So I don't have my finals grades back yet. I won't get them for probably 2 more weeks, but my midterm grades I got back. I felt pretty good on all of them except for torts. And surprisingly, I did the best on torts. I got a B on torts. I was shocked because pretty much that entire essay was based on negligence, which I've really struggled the most with, only because of causation. I don't know why. I just can't wrap my head around proximate cause. I even had professors help me, and it just confuses me so much, but I did surprisingly well on that one. For contracts and criminal law, I got a C+. I got a C+ on one and a C on the other one, which is fine. It's passing. And then on my intro to law, I got an A. So that was nice. And I did have my intro to law grade for finals already, which I did share that in my last video. I got an A- on that one. So based on the feedback on my midterms, I really got the content down good. But they just wanted more analysis from me, which I was really worried about providing too much analysis because 1, I was worried on time, and 2, I wanted to keep it relevant and straightforward and to the point. But reading my feedback, my professors who graded it really just wanted me to go more in depth on my analysis, whereas I kept it very straightforward. So that was one thing I definitely did differently on my finals, is instead of focusing on the rules and applying each of the elements to the rule, which I obviously still did, but I focused more on my reasoning part and just trying to justify everything that I was writing. I don't know if any of that even makes sense, but I'm okay with my midterm grades. I passed, and I think based on my feedback, I did pretty good on the content. I just needed to expand it more. They even said, you totally know what you're talking about, just expand it. One of the things I shared just about a year ago, I did, I think, a law school supplies haul and organization. So I bought these folders. I had one for each class. And I got some comments saying that this was not going to be big enough at all, that I needed a binder. I wanted binders originally, but I couldn't find any that were big enough and that I could color coordinate because I wanted to be able to keep them organized easily. And then I also wasn't sure how much I was going to use them, and I didn't want them to be too bulky. These folders ended up being perfect for my school because we don't have very many handouts. One thing I will do differently next year is I want to print out the entire syllabus and keep it in here. At the end of our syllabus, it has a checklist for every single month of the program for you to keep on track with the program. You can check it off online, but I'm definitely a hands-on person, so I would much rather be able to physically check those boxes off. So that's something I'll be doing this year, is printing that off and adding this to my folder. I can't share what the exams look like, but what I ended up doing is I put a copy of my midterm exam here in the front, and actually I think I printed it off when I first started and I never looked at it until I was ready to take my midterms, and that really helped me. Then here I have my outline that I typed up and numbered, and then behind that I have my handwritten notes from the lecture. That's all that's in here. So these folders were the perfect size. Something that I would like to do is maybe get like a 3-ring pouch to fit in here as well. That way I can keep my study flashcards in each of the corresponding folders, but I'm not sure if that's really realistic thing for me to do just because there's so many flashcards for each class. But overall, I'm very happy with this folder system that I went to, and I'll definitely be doing it again for 2L. Before I get into some of my most asked questions, there's just a couple little tips that I wanted to give out. First, the first one is that there is a type of assignment called Cali Lessons. They're basically like interactive lessons for every subject, and it's broken up into various different topics. They count towards your VAE hours, your verified academic engagement hours. And each Cali lesson has a number of time assigned to it that you'll get when you complete it. I didn't work on any Cali lessons until after I had gone through all of the material. I'd already done my midterms, and I was basically just studying for finals and trying to get the rest of my VAE hours. If you are a first-year law student at Northwestern California University, I highly suggest you go and do the Intro to Law Cali lesson on how to brief a case. I did not realize that there were Cali lessons for the Intro to Law class just because it's not really one of your core classes. So I highly suggest doing that. I ended up going through it just to get my hours, and I realized it would have been a huge help when I was first starting out briefing cases. It breaks it down step by step and gives you some practice ones to do. And I think it's worth, I want to say at least an hour, if not 2 hours. I honestly don't remember because it's been a couple months now since I did that one. My second tip that I have 3 main points, and then I'll get into some questions and share some additional stuff. And that is when you're doing your definitions assignment for each class has roughly 100 definitions that you have to do and submit that assignment. And I want to say about maybe 6 weeks in, I finally put 2 and 2 together that your definitions correspond to the lectures. Now, I never watched any of the live lectures just because it didn't work out with my work schedule, but I did go through and watch all of the recorded lectures from my favorite professor, which is Professor Mary. I tried to watch some of the other professors' lectures, but honestly, I just love Professor Mary's so much that I couldn't really find myself getting into the other ones. But the nice thing about the recorded lectures is you can watch them from the very beginning in order, and you can go through it as you're going through the material in the order it's meant to be in. So I would say about every 10 definitions corresponds to 1 lecture. So if you watch the lecture first, and then do a set of definitions, it's going to be a huge help. You're going to go through them so much faster because I was getting to a point where I hadn't watched the lecture for that set of definitions yet, and not all of them are in the Black's Law Dictionary. So that was just one tip that I have that would make doing your definitions assignment so much easier. I'll definitely be doing that going into 2L. Now, they don't exactly correspond, but they essentially go hand in hand like that. Okay, my third main tip is to start a VAE. Again, that's Verified Academic Engagement Tracker. So I created an Excel spreadsheet, and if I can, I'll try to leave a copy of a blank one in the description down below. This was super duper helpful. So I was able to create a sheet for each of my classes, and on that sheet, I put the total of hours that I needed to complete the course, and then I also put below that how many I needed just to be able to request my finals exam, because you have to have a majority of them done first. And so I was able to track the hours that I have towards lectures, hours that I have towards Cali lessons, discussions, and that kind of thing, so I can break it down, and it automatically calculates how many more hours that I need in order to request my finals and finish the class. So that was a huge help. in trying to make sure I have those hours met before the end of the year. All right, so now into some of my most asked questions. Probably the number one is, how many hours per week do you study? I believe the school recommends like 20 to 30 hours. Now, I'll have to do my math on this, but I would say I probably spent about 20 hours. Now, this is going to change depending on how you study and how you learn, that kind of thing. I would try to study from 6 to 8 a.m. I'd usually put in about an hour on my lunch and an hour when I would get off work, if not 2 hours. So that's at minimum 4 hours, 5 days a week. That's 20 hours right there. Then on the weekends, I would normally put in 5 to 6 hours of study as well. My biggest goal for 2L year is to do all of my studying Monday through Friday. That way I have the weekends open. I can do whatever I want with my family. I can just relax, because I was getting to a point where I was doing studying every single day and it was just wearing me out. So it would be nice to have weekends to not focus on work or school and just reset for the coming week. Now, in a perfect world, I'd like to be able to get all of my work done between the morning and my lunch. That way I have my evenings free. But if I have to put in an hour or so in the evenings, that's okay if it means that I get to have my weekends freed up. So I definitely want to be more disciplined with myself in the coming year, just so I don't get overwhelmed. That kind of goes along with the next question, which is, what would I do differently? So really, I just want to get onto a better study schedule. I know better now what to expect coming into it. I know now how much time and energy and effort I'm going to have to dedicate to each assignment. I know what to expect, so I think I'll be able to get onto a much better study routine in the coming year. I also would really like to give myself maybe like a 2-week break during the summer, and then I would like to take my finals closer to the end of my 11th month rather than the end of my 12th month. That way I can give myself another break, especially the way my start date lines up. It's going to be right around the holidays, so it'd be nice to have the holidays to be stress-free. This last year, towards the end of my year, was super stressful because we put in the offer on our house and we bought our house. I was traveling, I got COVID. Our house took longer than expected to close, so we were living with other people and all of our stuff was packed up, and it's just been one heck of a year. I also get a lot of questions, comments, concerns about Northwestern California University not being ABA accredited. They are California Bar accredited, but not ABA. I am not worried about that, not concerned about that. I am not concerned about that being an issue or the school's credibility for me finding a job, because at the end of the day, if you have a law degree and you pass the bar, that's really all that firms care about. I'm not looking to go into a huge firm, and I live in a small town, so I'm not that concerned about it. I don't plan on moving out of California. I know I had shared before that we were moving to Hawaii. Those plans have changed a little bit since we bought our house, but I'm still going to be graduating in California and living in California when I graduate. So again, I'm not concerned there. We would like to eventually move out of California at some point, but it's not in the books anytime soon. And if we do, there are several schools that will allow you to practice in their state from a non-ABA accredited school. And for our school, since it is California Bar accredited, they all have different rules of their own. My school was not previously California Bar accredited until the pandemic started, so I'm hoping that by the time I am ready to graduate that we will have become ABA accredited, because things are consistently changing and evolving in this world, especially due to the pandemic, so that would be really nice. I also get lots of questions about the first year law student exam, or what is known as the baby bar. I get asked all kinds of stuff about this. So for my school, I already had a previous degree, so I did not have to take it with their new accreditation program. Now, if you are admitted to the school on other terms, it doesn't apply to me, so I don't know the full logistics of it. You can read about it on their website. But basically, I didn't have to take the baby bar. So I really can't answer any of those questions. I was not worried about it because I didn't have to do it. I have heard that it's very, 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 very similar to the California bar. So essentially, if you can't pass that, then you can't pass the actual bar. I thought I'd talk also a little bit about the professors at my school. So I've got asked questions about how the professors are. They have all been super duper nice, super helpful, super friendly. They're awesome, honestly. And I feel like my law professors are even more relaxed because we're all adults, you know? If you're not gonna do your assignments, that's on you. They are super helpful, but their biggest thing is they want you to be able to learn how to find information on your own and just basically be self-efficient. So obviously they're gonna help you to an extent, but if you ask a question or something that is fairly obvious, I will say, like something that could easily be looked up on the school's website or on eJuris, which is the program we use to do our classes, like if it's on your syllabus there, then they're not going to be very helpful. So just keep that in mind. Definitely exhaust all of your own resources before you go ask for help. They are available on all of our discussion forums, which is really nice, and you're also able to interact with your peers on there. They have like study chat rooms, I guess is what it is, that you can reserve, and you can study with other students in there. Leading into the next couple of questions, someone asked, do you feel isolated taking online classes? I really don't, because there are other platforms through the school, I guess you'd call it platforms, for interacting with others. Like we have the live classes where you can have full-on discussions with the whole class. There's the discussion forums, and I am so busy with work outside of school that sometimes it's a refreshing break that I can just do my schoolwork on my own time at my own pace. I also live very, very close to my family and Zach's family. We do stuff together all the time, so that's a really good break. I think if we were still living in Eugene and I was doing online school, I would definitely feel isolated, because even taking on-campus classes in Eugene, I was feeling super isolated and honestly a little bit like having a little bit of depression, because we were in a place where we didn't know anyone and just some stuff up there just really sucked. Like Eugene itself honestly just sucks and I hated it. The town itself is pretty, school is cool for the most part, but I would never ever ever live there again. So no, I don't really feel isolated. I think that it's a good little break from the rest of the world. Sometimes I do wish that I had a brick and mortar campus that I could be able to go to study, to like chat with professors or other students with.